All right, so going back on Jordan Schultz report that the Cardinals plan to try to trade wide receiver DeAndre Hopkins. He has 2 years left on his deal, $34 million on the contract, and likely to seek a new contract if that trade is made. And the Cardinals are going to make this happen as they look to hire and interview new GMs and making this a part of that new GM's, first, 10 days or whatever it might look like. So we asked you guys the question, would you want the Titans to try to trade for DeAndre Hopkins? So, Zach, do you want to go to the chat? I can hit the chat if you want me to, but let's go ahead and get to it. Jay says yes. Andre says no for DeAndre. Let's see. Jeff Roberts says the Titans ain't getting Hopkins anyway. Got more to worry about than a 30-year-old wide receiver who want to be paid more than 22 a year. Jared says no, it's objectively stupid. Then Jermel says yes for sure. And then Timothy says hell no. Then Michael says no way. We got some absolutely not. So we got to know. There's a yes from Xavier. Jay says sure. Nick says depends on what the Titans trade away. No from Seth. No from Jarrell. No from not Stretch Armstrong. No from Rod. Steven says no, this has got to stop. So Zach, there's a lot more no's. But Jay says please trade him to show what Traylon Burks needs to do. So there are absolutely some yeses. Caleb says yes, he would. Orlando says yes. Matt says yes. Titan FDW says yep. Zach, what do you think?
Well, I'll start with Noah's comment with a little jackpot money, a little jackpot bucks. Says, I would put this in the same category as Julio Jones, except probably 2 years ahead of when the Titans got him. I see 3 years in DeAndre Hopkins. Would love it for his Madden Ultimate team, though. Any player to play a snap for the Titan counts. So I think there's a lot of layers to what this potential trade would look like. And I think the first layer is the new general manager, right? So the new general manager has got to come in, and this is where I would say my answer is no, because the new general manager immediately trading away assets for an older player. Now, you're not going to have to give up a first-round pick. I don't think that he's going to yield that, but he's going to cost you a lot of money. And I also think it will bring up old wounds, which is A.J. Brown. You're sitting here saying you're going to trade for a wide receiver and pay him a buku of money, but you're not willing to draft a guy. And again, I know it's a different general manager, but I do think that brings up an open wound that DeAndre Hopkins and or Traylon Burks, I don't think are going to be at the production level of A.J. Brown. And it's a hard pill to swallow. And the Titans are in a rebuild mode or a reset mode. Let's say reset. I think the offense, I think the Arizona Cardinals are more in a rebuild mode, and I think the Tennessee Titans are more in a reset mode. Now, that can change very quickly if the Titans don't find a quarterback. Then they turn into rebuild. And so right now they're in reset. When you reset, I don't think you trade for a 30-plus wide receiver that you're going to have to give up assets, especially when you're on the scene as a brand new general manager. And here's the other thing, and the last thing that I'll say is, because we don't know truly what the Titans' offense in 2023 is going to be, if they would have traded for DeAndre Hopkins last year, he wouldn't have been used. They just don't have the offensive philosophy for a big-name star wide receiver that they would trade for. A.J. Brown is a different beast because he was in-house, right? I mean, they had picked him, hand-picked. So my answer is no. You do not need at this juncture and this time to get involved and trade away some of your assets for an aging wide receiver. You're just not at that point.
Dom has been active in the chat on YouTube saying 31 is not old for a wide receiver anymore. And while 31's not what 31 used to be in the NFL at an offensive skill position, it's still up there. There is still a lot of tread that DeAndre Hopkins has gone throughout his NFL career when you consider that the guy has had over 1,300 targets in his career, over 850 catches, and over 11,000 yards and 70-plus touchdowns throughout his career. He's been really freaking good through 10 seasons, where he's played most of them with the Texans and the last 3 with the Arizona Cardinals. And the last time Hopkins played in a full season without injury was 2020, his first year with the Cardinals, when he had 115 catches for 1,400 yards in a very productive season. The last 2 years, he had an injury in 21 that cost him the end, then the PED suspension that cost him the beginning of this year, and then Kyler Murray's injury kind of cost him the end, like I said earlier. So 31 is not ancient, but still, I'm going to ask Zach you this question. When's the last time the Tennessee Titans have acquired a veteran wide receiver and it worked? And I'm not talking about just a free agent wide receiver who's coming off of a rookie deal like Nate Washington was when the Titans acquired him from Pittsburgh in free agency. But I'm talking about the last time the Titans signed a veteran wide receiver, like a third contract type guy who has worked. Nate Washington does not count. Nate Washington doesn't count. He was off his rookie deal in Pittsburgh and came into his mid to late 20s and was good. But a third contract type of receiver that has worked for the Tennessee Titans. I mean, there's a lot of guys that they've tried on, right? Julio didn't work. Eric Decker didn't work. Andre Johnson didn't work. Eric Moulds, Randy Moss. I mean, there's been so
Justin
many.
McCarron's.
Justin McCarron's came back to the Titans on his didn't work, but that wasn't, Justin McCarron's is in a completely different conversation than
you asked. No, you got to go back.
Yeah, but it hasn't worked.
Well, the sad part is they finally draft one and they trade him away.
David Givens didn't work. Robert Woods didn't work. And so it's like, why? Why would you try to do the same damn thing again for more money?
Well, especially, and I think this is what I was saying, is especially with the offense that you run.
Yeah, well, that's fine. But and again, there are 2 guys that I see popping up in the comments that you guys are saying worked. But again, and now there's a third guy. Those names are Nate Washington. I've been over. That doesn't count. It was a free agent deal off his rookie year in Pittsburgh. Adam Humphries doesn't count. It was a free agent deal off his rookie year from Tampa. He was like 26 when they signed him, which is typically when free agents happen. Rashard Matthews, that also doesn't count because he was coming off of his rookie deal, his first deal in Miami, and he was in his mid-20s. I'm talking about a guy who is
30 plus. Say 30 plus.
Yes, who has signed a second deal somewhere off the rookie deal, and you are acquiring him.
And Delaney Walker doesn't, because he's a tight end.
He's a tight end. It doesn't work. It doesn't.
So I think the answer is never.
Yes, I knew the answer when I asked the question. Yancey Thigpen, you can go all the way back to that. You can go all the way back to Carl Pickens and Yancey.